zombie straight line just brings you back to the old days. It keeps it fun, keeps it funky. And by what they got going on here, they're doing it in a major way. It is not a motorized blaster. It's not a stripe style. There's no rev trigger, but instead, this blaster is a bolt action. It came with the little plastic pieces to put on here. It goes on both sides, so you don't have to choose. Like me, I can be kind of indecisive, and I never know which side to put my bolt on. But this thing has it on both sides, which is great, especially if you're sharing the blaster. You give it to a kid, and they also don't have to do anything weird to your blaster to switch it up that you have to go through the trouble of changing back later. It's already good and ambidextrous, so that is a great thing. Seems really good, real smooth and easy. Any child can handle this and easily even beat you out there on that field. Check out all these cool details. This cool little graffiti style X. It's got the on this side. It's got the little dangerous side. This blaster looks like something that's been dipped or dropped in some toxic waste and came back up, and someone decided that they're going to use that to make art out of it and spray paint it all over it so that their blaster looks extra used and extra dangerous. When you're out here with a blaster like this, it looks like you know what you're doing. Especially like with the tubing, it makes it look like it is a chemically active type of a blaster. There's some cool technology involved in this. But overall, as you guys might notice, I am digging and loving just the design on this blaster. Dang it, I've been knocking my storm around. Right here on the stock, they have the storage where you can put your green zombie line darts inside. It is on each side, so you have 6 total in your storage. This beaker style stock is something unlike we have ever seen before in the Nerf brand, and it is definitely cool and definitely welcome. The stock is great. It is rather small, but again, this line, if you look at the other blasters in this line, you can see that the line particularly isn't for, like, you know, grown folks particularly. It's more of a childish type of line, so it is good for it not to be too large. Small for me, but for a child, it may or may not be just right. There is a sight up top built in. It is not attached to a rail. It's just sitting right there all together with this barrel. There is no barrel attachment point, so what you have here is what you get. There is, in fact, a Picatinny rail up here if you have an extra scope to attach. That would be great. Also, another Picatinny rail down on the bottom. So I particularly would love to add my little holder, my little grip onto this to make it feel a whole lot more complete, and I like it. I just love all the twisty little details, this little twisty thing right here. I'm sorry, I seem like I just can't get over all the details because every time I feel like I've really covered it, there's always so much more to see. Look at the transparency on the grip and that little bubble too. It's like an acid type of a theme, and I assume this blaster may be an acid gun. Yeah, that's what it is. It's an acid gun. Ah. Glad I discovered that before the review was over. So speaking of this grip, again, the size overall, it's not built for like a grown person necessarily. I can hold it and wield it just fine, but then again, I have small little girl hands. That's why I am like single all the time. But yeah, it is not a very huge, not a very comfortable grip if you are a grown person. But for a child, again, it may or may not be just right. But I think it's cool enough. I love how we have a 18 dart capacity clip. It looks pretty big and goofy when you put it in there, but who's gonna complain when you get 18 rounds? Like, I am very glad that they decided to go even past the 12 and make sure that we were fully loaded. That means that they must know that this is going to be a really good blaster that everyone will probably want to fire again and again. What is so cool is that even the ammo clip, you won't get it confused with a clip from another blaster, because it is definitely built and customized for this zombie blaster. Maybe you can take this clip on the previous zombie line and use it for that one and dress that up as well. Very awesome thing when they add all these little trinkets and cool details. And on that note, now that I have pretty much gotten into all the features of this blaster, before I find something else to go off about, let's get into the actual functionality and start with this chronograph test.